Welcome to the Bulletproof Screenwriting Podcast, episode number 72. You sell a screenplay like you sell a car. If someone drives it off a cliff, that's it. Rita Mae Brown.
Broadcasting from a dark, windowless room in Hollywood when we really should be working on that next draft. It's the Bulletproof Screenwriting Podcast, showing you the craft and business of screenwriting while teaching you how to make your screenplay bulletproof. And here's your host, Alex Ferrari.
Welcome to another episode of the Bulletproof Screenwriting Podcast. I am your humble and quarantined host, Alex Ferrari. Now, today's show is sponsored by Bulletproof Script Coverage. Now, unlike other script coverage services, Bulletproof Script Coverage actually focuses on the kind of project you are and the goals of the project you are. So we actually break it down by three categories: micro budget, indie film market, and studio film. There's no reason to get coverage from a reader that's used to reading tentpole movies when your movie is going to be done for $100,000. And we wanted to focus on that at Bulletproof Script Coverage. Our readers have worked with Marvel Studios, CAA, WME, NBC, HBO, Disney, Scott Free, Warner Brothers, The Blacklist, and many, many more. So if you need your screenplay or TV script covered by professional readers, head on over to covermyscreenplay.com. And guys, I have a special treat for you. If you are interested in getting a 3-part video series on screenwriting and how to write blockbusters in Hollywood today by some Oscar winners, some multi-billion-dollar screenwriters, all you got to do is head over to bulletproofscreenwriting.tv/free video series. Sign up for it there and you will get 3 amazing videos, almost an hour in length total, in your inbox. So just head over to bulletproofscreenwriting.tv/free video series. Before we get started, guys, I set up a special link to help people affected by the coronavirus, and you can donate to Feed America. There is a lot of people in need out there, and Feed America is a great organization, and they're helping millions of people on a daily basis, and they also need your help. If you want to donate even $5, $10, it goes a long way. Head over to indiefilmhustle.com/help. Now, today, guys, we are going to tackle the elusive Corey letter. How to do it properly. Does it work? How not to do it, mistakes that we've seen, things like that, because I have been getting a lot of requests for me to cover this topic, and here it is. So I decided to bring back to the show screenwriting doctor and author Geoffrey Calhoun, who is the author of the Guide for Every Screenwriter and also an instructor at IFH Academy, whose course, The Screenwriter's Guide to Formatting, which, believe it or not, a lot of screenwriters still have problems with. And I didn't even know this, but screenwriting formatting has changed a whole lot since 10 years ago. There's new things you got to learn, all this kind of stuff. So Geoffrey covers all that in that course. But today we are going to tackle the Corey letter. So without any further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Geoffrey Calhoun. I'd like to welcome back to the show returning champion, Geoffrey Calhoun. How you doing, brother?
How you doing? Thanks. Good to be here.
I'm good, brother. I'm good. I reached back out to you, man, because I've been getting a lot of emails and requests about Corey letters. And we've never done anything like that on the show. I don't even think I have an article about it in Bulletproof Screenwriting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call a man who knows about these things. And, you obviously created the Screenwriter's Guide to Formatting course that we have on IFH Academy. And This kind of goes along with that beginner level kind of stuff, was like Corey letters and all that kind of thing. So I felt that this would be a good match. So just to answer some of the questions that I'm getting from the tribe and see if you can provide some value to the audience today. So I appreciate it.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, absolutely.
So first of all, what is a Corey letter, sir?
Well, I mean, a Corey letter is you're pretty much pitching your script to a producer, a director, manager, or an agent, any of those things. But it's just like a real quick email. It's not anything too involved.
That's so simple as that. And generally it is an email, not a snail mail.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're not snail mailing anymore.
Not so much as or the faxes, sir. Not the faxing.
You don't do the fax. You're not gonna use a pager. None of that stuff. When I was first starting out, though, you could send letters, and so we did do that back then. But yeah, no, you're not mailing scripts anymore. None of that stuff.
So, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see with query letters?
I mean, one of them is they'll try and pitch themselves, like, I won all these awards and I'm this big fancy writer. Right. I think one of the worst ones I've seen is like, you need to read this script or else you don't know what you're missing. I mean, nothing comes off as more desperate or arrogant than that.
But isn't it funny that you're saying like, oh yeah, I've won all these awards. I'm such a hotshot big screenwriter, but yet you're sending a query letter. So that kind of is like John August not sending the query letters.
Exactly.
You know, Aaron Sorkin not sending the query letters. So it's kind of counterproductive in that sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I would say, I mean, having bad grammar is a big issue.
It's a big issue, period, even in scripts.
Yeah, well, some writers try and justify it, but it's a big problem. See, the thing about query letter is that, you're introducing your skill as a writer right there. Mm-hmm. So it's an introduction to who you are and whether you're talented or not. And if a query letter reads well, then it's an indication that you could be at least a decent screenwriter.
Now, how long should it be?
It's not long. I mean, we're not sending out pages. You're just going to do your intro, and then you're going to do a log line, like a 1 to 2 sentence log line. And there's two schools of thought on this, and it kind of has to depend how it works for you. So you could do the log line and then what we call the elevator pitch, mm-hmm. or you could do the log line, the elevator pitch, and a short synopsis. And that's about it. I wouldn't go beyond that. And again, like I said, there's two schools of thought in that. Some people do the synopsis, some people don't.
So it's just for people who don't know, real quick, what is the log line? So just for people who don't understand.
Yeah, of course. So the log line is just a brief 1 to 2 sentence explanation of your script.
Simple as that. And then the synopsis obviously is the synopsis of your script.
Yeah. But I would do a short synopsis though. So I would do like three or 4 sentences. Yeah.
Tops, right? Yeah. And the elevator pitch is similar as far as the length is concerned.
So the elevator pitch is just like it's Back to the Future meets Pulp Fiction, something like that.
I will see that movie. I will watch that movie. Which was another question I was going to ask you. Should you do the whole, Back to the Future meets Pulp Fiction world, or better yet, Pulp Fiction meets Jurassic Park? That's a movie I want to see. But like, do you do that? Because I know a lot of people like it's so Hollywood to do that, but it does get it gets the message across really quickly. Like in the 90s, Die Hard on a boat, Die Hard on a plane, Die Hard in an arena.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. It's dealer's choice at this point. I mean, you can do it, you can get away with it, you cannot. I mean, I guess it comes down if you're doing it well. I haven't done it, but with my query, the success I got, I did my log line and I did a short synopsis, and then that ended up getting into Fred Siebert's hands. Next thing you know, I was getting a call from Frederator, and they were asking me if I had a TV children's animated comedy, mm-hmm. and I didn't. So of course they said yes, and then called up one of my best writer friends and said, "Guess what we're writing tonight?" And then we wrote a pilot and we pitched it to him. So that's how I got success. But if you were to do the elevator pitch, I would make sure you only did films that were successful and well known.
So like Cats meets Ishtar. It's not that. Yep. Shouldn't be.
That's it. I've had nightmares of that one. How did you know? You're in my dreams. It's scary.
Cats meets Ishtar. We should do a whole show on combining.
Cats meets Trolls 2.
Oh, no. Cats meet The Room.
Oh my! I'm sold.
Cats meets The Room.
I'm in that theater.
With director Tommy Wiseau. Can you imagine? Can you imagine giving Tommy Wiseau $200 million?
I think you just figured out his next project.
I think Tommy, that's free if you're listening. Now, you were saying earlier, don't focus on yourself, focus on the story, focus on the screenplay. How formal should you be? Because a lot of times like, hey, bro, little too informal, but also don't want to be, but you also don't want to be like, to who it may concern.
No, don't do that.
So where's the balance?
Yeah, well, when you're gonna query somebody, you're gonna target them. So you'd already done your research on them. And you can find people through IMDb Pro, or there's even books you can find. But whoever you are querying, let's talk about this for a second. Make sure that they accept unsolicited materials. Unsolicited meaning you don't have an agent or a manager. So that's first bar. So if they do accept unsolicited materials, then you can query that person because they're open to it. And it's just hi, hello, and then, Alex or whoever their name is. You don't get too formal with it, but you don't get too casual. So I would say it would be like the writing version of business casual. So you're appropriate, but you're a little loose.
Got it. Exactly. And let's talk a little bit about how to find that right person to send it to, because both you and I get query letters for screenplays, which is still mind-boggling to me. I mean, at least you're a screenwriting instructor and guru and consultant. I interview people who are in the screenwriting space. I run a website.
You don't want to make this $200 million script I wrote?
You don't want to do that? Which is Cats Meets the Room. But, anything Cats meets, it's solid.
It's money.
It's money. It's solid. It's Cats meets Star Wars. Cats meets, Harry Potter. I mean, it's just money. Good. You're all good. But I get query letters, and I just delete them right away because I'm like, I'm not even going to respond because I don't want to. Just like, I don't want to be legally responsible or anything like that.
Well, that's the big thing. Yeah. You don't want to get sued for that.
Exactly. And so, but they'll like, the best one I ever got was like similar, like you need to read this. It is the next Star Wars, the next, Mission Impossible series or something, some grandiose kind of theory. And you've got to read this. And then they go into who they are and all the amazing film festivals they've won, and awards they've won, which I've never heard of. But regardless, that's just not the way business is done, in our industry. Anybody who's actually, if anyone who actually has won real awards, like real awards, things that like an Oscar, an Emmy, the Nichols or something of some sort of magnitude in the space. Yeah. You say that maybe once or twice in the letter, like, hey, I'm a Nichols finalist. That's good.
A little bit. Yeah.
You drop it. You don't slam it over people's heads, and you definitely don't brag about it. Because would it be fair to say like the query letter should be kind of like having a conversation with someone you just met at a party? Like if you meet somebody at a party, you're not going to go up to them and go, dude, I am the best. My next screenplay is going to be awesome. You need to read this. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think that's totally accurate. Yeah, because you're not too formal, right? But you're not too relaxed with the way you're talking with people and pitching your project. No, I think that's good.
Now, is this coming to with like the tone as well, being formal or non-formal? Like, should the tone be, like, what is the tone? Because you could be aggressive, you could be, do you start telling jokes? I
would be just purely desperate if you could just come off as.
That's a Jacquard Desperat. That's the actual cologne they sell that you put on.
The problem, I would keep the tone as far as the query goes. You want your tone to match kind of the genre of the script you're writing in. So if you're doing like a short synopsis, it should be in that kind of a tone of like a thriller or comedy. But you don't want to get too, like I said, you don't want to get too crazy with it.
Right. So like as far as like being too funny, like a joke or two is fine, especially if you're pitching a comedy.
Yeah, you're not doing slapstick. Yeah,
exactly. But a little bit of that, just a little bit to kind of give it a personality, maybe something to stick out. Yeah. Slight. Yeah. It's all less is more.
Yeah, exactly.
Less is more. Now I have to ask you the question though. Where can you go wrong with query letters? Because there seems to be it tends to be kind of like a crutch for a lot of screenwriters. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, having been achieved a little bit of success with the query letters, I'm starting to understand that that's like the 1%. With query letters, there's this whole, I don't believe in them. Mm-hmm. I think it's something you can do, but I think it's something you should do and then walk away from and have really no expectation with it. Because what I found with query letters is that people will become kind of addicted to them and have this slot machine-like mentality where they've written the script, and if they just pull that arm enough times, eventually they're going to walk away with the win. And it just doesn't work that way. I think the best way to get your screenplay made is through networking. But I would even argue past that, because what I find with screenwriters is they write the screenplay, they get really excited about it, which is wonderful. But they expect, fame, fortune, making it in Hollywood. And I think the mentality is the issue, because there's a difference between writing a screenplay and expecting it to be huge and then being a paid writer. Mm-hmm. Because if you just want to be a paid writer, then it's about using that screenplay you wrote as a resume to provide what you can do as a writer, and not expecting that to get sold. When one of my scripts, I did a huge circuit around the country, well, and even the world, with my script, going to festivals and meeting people and getting to know them. And yes, they would read my work, but I would get hired because of my work to work on their project. And that's how I became a paid writer. I would recommend branding yourself around your writing and less about holding on to that script as a golden ticket.
So that's a really good point here, because a lot of screenwriters, well, there's two things. One, a lot of screenwriters think, because I know the screenwriter's mind, I know the filmmaker's mind, because I have that mind myself, is that the query letter is like, okay, I've sent out 10 query letters today. I don't have to work on my craft today. Like, I'm good now. And they use that as the excuse of like, I'm working towards it, but really it's not. It's just, it should be, if you're going to do it, send it out and don't shotgun it. Please be strategic with it. Do not shotgun it, because you will people will remember you. You're going to get burned. You're going to get burned. Don't do that. Just be strategic about do the research about who you want to send it to. And there has been success with query letters. Of course there has, but it shouldn't be the only strategy in trying to get your work out there. But branding yourself more as the writer than the screenplay is so much more important. Like, I mean, if you look at Shane Black, he wasn't just the Lethal Weapon script. Like right. that wasn't the only thing he had. Aaron Sorkin wasn't just the one script. It wasn't just for a few good men. That's not the script. Tarantino definitely just wasn't Reservoir Dogs. They set themselves up as writers, in the space, and then got, like, even when Tarantino started out, he started getting a lot of rewriting. He did a lot of rewrites, script doctoring, uncredited, credited, all that kind of stuff, because of that mentality, what you just said, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's what you want. I would not look at your script as the golden ticket, and instead try and figure out, how do I want to become this paid writer? And then you start branding, finding the niche that you can fill, finding your strengths as a writer, and then building towards that. I mean, that's the path that I've done, and that's how I found my success.
Well, my friend, I appreciate you taking the time out to talk about query letters. It is something that the tribe was asking me for, and I think we have covered it and told you how to do it, how not to do it. Maybe you shouldn't do it. And also, also played a little bit in the not philosophy, but the psychology of screenwriting, and getting in your own way. Because trust me, like I remember when I was, I just sent out, I faxed out. I faxed out 20 resumes today. I faxed out 20 resumes today. I'm good. Let me go sit down and watch the latest reality show. That was back in the day.
I think at one point when I first started, I think I queried every manager and agent in LA.
Mm-hmm. And how'd that work out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lesson. Let's put it that way.
Was that? I'm assuming that's a to whom may concern. Because you didn't do individual.
Yeah, no, it was like the worst query letter you could think of. I was like just green and desperate, and I just went through hundreds. I mean, it was hundreds, and I just didn't know what I was doing. And after that, I realized, yeah, this is not the way to do it. And then I matured and over time said, okay, this is how I start to get paid. Yeah.
And I just want to put one more thing before we go. The desperation, we've joked a little bit about the desperation. If the desperation spills over into that query letter or into a phone call or into that stuff, people do not want to work with desperate screenwriters or desperate filmmakers. They don't, because trust me, I used to be doused in Drakkar Desperado. I mean, I used to have so much desperation. You could just, and professionals in the business, they see it coming from a mile away. And the thing is that you need to not come at it from a point of desperation, but have to come at it from a point of service. How can I help you get to where you want to go? Is that a rewrite of the script? Is this creating a script that's going to help you make money? How can I provide value to you? It's so much more important than I need you to read my script to make my dreams come true. You're done.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's absolutely right. And we've all been there. I mean, I think that's why you and I do things like this, is because we have dripped and sweated, and if it wasn't for email, they'd see my dried tears on my query letters. I mean, it's just, we've been there and we know it, and we don't want people to go through it. The problem is when you are in that desperation, you kind of don't realize it. You have to have that aha moment where you go, okay, yeah, I need to refocus. I need to change. And you'll know that if you are looking at these query letters as your only hope, then you are in that mentality of being desperate. But there is ways to get around it. You just have to kind of retake control of your path and start strategizing and planning your way to success. Because the one big concern I have about querying is if you're not strategizing, you're not planning, then you're just being blind faith about it and hoping and praying. And I just think you need to take more control of that direction and be more active. If we're going to use screenwriting terms, be more active in your own story and a little less passive.
Right. Without question, brother. Hey, listen, thank you again for being on the show, talking about the query letters, and hopefully this has helped out a few people, and maybe, just maybe, a couple of ahas are ringing out in the world today as they listen to this episode. So thanks again, brother. Thanks again.
My pleasure.
I want to thank Geoffrey for coming on the show and clarifying what is a good query letter. If you want to get a couple more tips and outline of what we discussed in this episode, head over to the show notes at bulletproofscreenwriting.tv/072. And if you want to check out Geoffrey's new course, The Screenwriter's Guide to Formatting, just head over to ifhacademy.com and you can find it there or in the show notes. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope this episode helps you on your screenwriting path. As always, keep on writing, no matter what. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Bulletproof Screenwriting Podcast at bulletproofscreenwriting.tv.